Welcome back with another banger. It's the React Files. Hope you having a good night. Let's get straight to it.
Kickstarting Monday with a jellyfish slash rubber duck UFO type video that came from around a few years ago, and it's resurfacing online of a strange anomalous object floating through the sky. This piece of footage was originally filmed by the DHS, the Drug Interdiction Aircraft, okay, and it's been analysed by multiple people in all sorts of different fields, scientists, you name it, especially the Scientific Coalition for UAP Studies, and they all conclude that this object makes no sense at all, bruv. Okay, so this object right here was filmed on FLIR, which is the FLIR, if you want to call it. The brighter the object is, like this object is here, the colder it is, and the darker the background images are, the warmer it is. So whatever this object flying through the sky is right here is cold as hell, baby. Okay? And it was travelling around 200 miles per hour, and it was tracked for around a 40-minute period, okay? And this, people just don't know what the hell this thing was, or why it was there, or what it was up to. So people have speculated whether this is a backwards engineered aircraft, or this is a type of interdimensional drone, or this is just a straight-up jellyfish-type being. But, again, till this day, nobody knows what this is about, right? And a few people have had this file sent to them previously, before this got released. There's one here that says, the files were placed in a strange folder by border agents at the DHS along with La Bruja and the A10, named Strange. Very interesting, mate. I'll leave some links down below. You guys can check it out, but absolutely incredible. You let me know what you think.
Now, what was that? Shout outs to Interstellar Discussion. Whatever it was ice cold. Traveling 200 miles per hour. I would want to say a weather balloon, but I don't think balloons move that fast. Not that I know of.
The security guards capture the apparition of a woman floating in air as they pass by an old graveyard adjacent to their workplace.
Parece que está suspendido. No mames. Güey, está inclinado para atrás. No mames, ¿qué es esto? No mames, ¿qué es eso? Será un crico que está ahí detenido en el tiempo y en la nada. Ay, ya se me paró. Ahí está. Ahí está otra vez. No se mueve.
I got an anonymous email from someone who claimed to have worked at the elite invite-only Club 33 at Disney World, the most magical place on earth, and the dark things that went on when this person was working there. The information in the email that this person shared is creepy to say the least, and honestly, this is the kind of story I live for. I love these weird, different, interesting stories. But I have to say a couple things before I start this one, because this person was so bent on being anonymous that they actually sent the email from a burner email. You can do that on the form on my website. Not many people do. They just asked me to change their name. But this person actually used a fake email to submit this story. They told me they were doing so because the confidentiality agreements that you sign when you work for Disney are so extensive, especially working at this club, that your life can be ruined if you speak on what you saw or what you did. That said, I cannot verify if any of this is true, and I spoke with my lawyer friend. He's not an entertainment lawyer, but I told him about this story, and he read the email, and he said that just to be safe, to put a disclaimer that this story is for entertainment purposes only. So, this story is for entertainment purposes only. There is no validity or truth to this that I can prove. Disney, please don't come for my head. I am a mother. I would like to bring my son there one day. I've also never been there. This person said that there's a lot of things about Disney that a lot of people don't know. For example, there's an extensive tunnel system that goes underneath the park that stretches for miles, but it's mostly not used. It's called a utilidor. And the majority of it that is used is underneath Magic Kingdom. There's nothing inherently spooky about this. It's mostly used as a cafeteria. There's some office spaces, and then there's also the zoo where characters get dressed. At one point, the park also did tours in this tunnel system, but they didn't show the lower level. This person said that they believe that one of the reasons they did tours into these tunnels was to prove that nothing sketchy was going on down there. So I don't know. Another thing this person said that many people don't know is that if you work there as a character, you're not allowed to say, I work at Disney World as Cinderella. You have to say, I'm friends with Cinderella at Disney World. Staff is not allowed to tell guests no unless they're doing something illegal. But basically, you can get away with whatever you want at Disney World as long as you're following the law. One final thing this person said was that the janitors have a habit of throwing their broom and dustpan into a river in Disney World when they retire. And the person who emailed me shared these facts that not many people know just as a way to prove their validity, I guess, or to be taken as a credible source. So you make up your own mind. And remember, all of this is alleged. Now, this person says that they worked at Club 33. They did not say how long they worked there or how they got this job, so I don't know. But Club 33 is not a secret. It is hidden in plain sight, but you can't buy your way in. You have to be invited, and the wait list stretches years. This person said they worked at Club 33 for more than 1 year, but less than 10. And during that time, it was the best job they ever had until they started noticing things that they shouldn't have. If you've been to Disney, you've probably passed it. There is just a small bronze plaque marking its entrance. On the outside, it's just a nondescript door, but on the inside, it's something else. Inside, there's a full-service bar, an expansive dining room, chandeliers, and artwork from Walt Disney's personal collection. There is even furniture that supposedly belonged to Walt Disney himself, and most people that come there just come to eat and drink and have a good, exclusive time. There are places and things inside that even most members of Club 33 don't see. And most of the time, it's normal. It's just working for very, very rich people. But the first time that this person experienced something strange was working when a very exclusive group of VIPs were in. They were in one of the private dining rooms of Club 33, but this party was strange because nobody was eating and nobody was drinking. The person who emailed me was just working, and their only duty was to make sure that no one needed anything. They were not allowed to talk and had to stand in the corner with their hands behind their back watching this group. And all this group was doing when everybody came in and was seated was sitting at the table in silence, staring at a small black box in the middle of the table. This went on for hours, and this person even said that even their managers were standing by the doors with their hands behind their back, completely expressionless. Finally, one of the members got up, picked up the black box, and left, and everybody smiled. None of them exchanged a word, but they all got up and left at the same time, and then they were normal in the lobby, smiling and laughing with each other. This person said they have no idea what was in the box. Another creepy thing that happened was that this person noticed a secret elevator. They said that Club 33 is full of hidden details, and there is an elevator that the public uses. Well, not the public, but the members. And it's amazing. It's old-fashioned. It's a lift designed to fit Walt Disney's personal taste. It's full of hidden details, but supposedly there's another elevator that this person witnessed seeing. One that supposedly doesn't exist. It was around 2 a.m. and the last of this private party of VIPs that this person was working for left. They were polishing some wine glasses when they heard a whirring, like a mechanical noise coming from behind them. So they turned around, and behind a wine rack, one of the wooden panels had slid open to reveal the inside of another elevator. This person said that the inside of this elevator looked old, like the mirrors were fogged. There were like rusted details, flickering lights, but they were facing it head on, right? Just looking at it. It looks empty. And they're watching as the doors slide shut. And right before they close, they see a hand reach out, and it was small and pale. They said it was like a split second, like it almost looked like someone was trying to stop the door from closing. And then it was gone. So this person immediately finds their manager and they say, "Is there another elevator in here?" And the manager says, "There's no other elevators besides the main one." And this person says, "No, I absolutely saw an elevator. Like there's an elevator here." And this manager says, "No, I've worked here for X amount of years. There's no elevator. I would know about it." This person also said that security at Disney is like lock and key. There are cameras everywhere besides the bathroom. But there's a surprising lack of cameras inside Club 33. This person said that maybe there are cameras and they're just hidden, but this area is not under as high security or surveillance as the other areas in the park. Another weird thing about Club 33 is that it has a lot of secret rooms. They're not really secret for people who work there, but they're really just used for private meetings, high-profile dinners, things that the park just doesn't want many people to know about, including park staff. There's one room that nobody is ever allowed to enter, including staff, and it's locked. This person said this door is not marked. It's just a small brass keyhole. There's no plaque on the door, nothing like that. And in the entire time that this person worked there, they never saw anyone go in or come out except for one. It was late. This person was about to leave for the night about 2 a.m, and they saw a man in a black suit and a hat rush in and open the door. He was walking quickly, almost like he was being chased or followed by someone. He goes in, he closes the door behind him. And this person waited for as long as they could, but they never saw him come out. All of this secrecy really started weighing on the person who emailed me, and they had been considering quitting even though it was a good job. But the final straw came one night within the last 5 years. They did not say when. Club 33 was closed for a very exclusive group of VIPs. They had changed the atmosphere in the club. All of the chandeliers had been dimmed to low, and the lighting was just very eerie. This person's higher ranking managers had wheeled in something covered in a sheet, and when they unveiled it in the middle of the room, this person saw that it was a wax figure of Walt Disney himself. When it was unveiled, Everybody in the room went silent and all stood to face in the same direction around it. Nobody was eating, nobody was drinking. This was another party where this person was instructed to just stand in the corner with their hands behind their back, and at first they thought this figure of Walt Disney was just a wax figure until he saw it move. This person said it could have just been performance art. But this wax figure was very much alive. The chest was moving up and down as if it were breathing, and the eyes opened and closed. Once this figure opened its eyes, every single member of this VIP group who was here for this dropped to their knees and bowed their head. This person quit after that. They said that they believe that something dark is going on at Club 33 because only the most successful, most elite people are invited to join. This person believes that they're doing something that most people aren't supposed to understand. Anytime this person asked questions to their superiors, they were told the same thing. That's not for you to know. And remember, all of this is for entertainment purposes only. All of this is alleged. I've never been to Disney World, but I would like to bring my son someday. So Disney, please don't come for my head. And if this video gets deleted, then maybe there is something to this.
That's a story you don't hear every day. What was that wax figure that was breathing and would open its eyes and they would kneel? Yeah, I would quit as well. Shout out to Ashley INC in the elevator behind the bar. Man, it sounds like a creepy location for real.
Lady Gaga just performed a satanic ritual live on television. I've been telling you guys about her, and before you say relax, it's SNL, it's just a joke, watch this whole video. You see, they bring in these two little demons with the satanic pentagram and everything to begin the summoning. They actually summon a demon called Lamashtu, and this is a real demon. It's a demon lord called the Mother of Beasts and the Mistress of Insanity, and Lady Gaga herself says this. So they start to baptize this girl. They give her a chalice of blood to drink, and when she drinks it, they start to baptize her. They said, "You will now be baptized of the Mother of Beasts and the Mistress of Insanity." A lot of other weird stuff happens, and then they take her heart and act like they're gonna eat it. All fake, obviously. But if you go and look at Lady Gaga and do some research, she actually has a pretty dark background. I mean, she's really good friends with Marina Abramovich, who is notorious for her spirit cooking, and she actually took private lessons or teachings from her in the woods, and there's a whole video about it online. Viewer discretion is advised. If you watch it, it's pretty dark. Here's a picture of them looking at art, which is food shaped in human bodies, which is actually kind of similar of what we saw in the skit. You know how people say, "I swear to God"? Listen to what she says.
If you don't get this right now, I swear to Lucifer, I'm gonna, I get a little...
I mean, who even says that? And then going to her music, that's a whole different conversation. I mean, one of her most popular songs is Judas, talking about how she's in love with the person that betrayed Jesus Christ. Here's some footage of one of her most recent music videos. I mean, it all looks like a joke at first, but once you start to actually do some research, feels like it's just the truth in plain sight.
Okay, we gotta talk about this egg UFO they found in Antarctica. The one that was leaked by a supposed government whistleblower on a certain website that shall not be named. This blower claims to have been part of the recovery mission of a very interesting UAP that's allegedly of ancient origin. UFOs and ancient civilizations? I'm about to blow a little something myself. Your mind. This egg-shaped UAP, as it's being called, was found deep in a cave in the Queen Elizabeth mountain range in Antarctica, along with a 700-year-old humanoid being in a stasis pod who was still alive, woke up, and talked to us. Reminder, this is just speculation from an anonymous post and is for entertainment purposes only. Did you hear that, algorithm? Our whistleblower says he worked for the US Department of Defense in a long Q&A style post with some pretty juicy info, starting the thread off by telling us this video was taken in November of 2022, showing what appears to be a large, smooth, spherical object, not unlike a lot of the Tic Tac UAPs we've been seeing, dangling at the end of a long rope being airlifted by a helicopter. He insists it's an egg-shaped UAP of ancient origin, made from an unknown metal that no one was able to open. Now, let me just preface everything I'm about to reveal by saying the site this leak was posted on isn't exactly known for being a reliable source of valid information, but on the other hand, is known for being notoriously anonymous, which admittedly would be ideal for whistleblowers who wish to stay hidden. Either way, take this all with a grain of salt, because what is interesting is that the video shown here is extremely similar to another one released by News Nation, a legitimate American cable news and video network just days earlier. And once again, their video shows an egg-shaped UAP in the same night vision filter dangling at the end of a long rope hanging from a helicopter, which they confirm was leaked to them by another whistleblower that they themselves validated. Two separate separate videos just a few days apart, both with the same looking egg UFO. Is there something to this, or is it all just a coordinated distraction? Along with the video, News Nation also interviewed Jake Barber, a decorated US Air Force veteran who was contracted by the DoD as a helicopter pilot for crash retrieval. And he reveals that some of his retrievals were definitely not of human origin. He admits that he was sent on helicopter retrievals of unknown objects that he would extract and transport with a long rope, missions that took place at night, and mentions on one particular extraction as he looked down at the object he was carrying through his night vision lens, he saw, and I quote, an egg. A white egg with no visible propulsion system, which is exactly what we see in both of the videos, confirmed by the one manning the helicopter. And bro looks shell-shocked revealing these claims, saying he felt possessed by some ethereal energy during this job, and that shortly after, he and his colleagues got really sick, lost all of his hair, and his skin started to peel. Even developed heart problems he's never had before, so Stanford immunologist Gary Nolan took a look at his health diagnostics, insisting he's never seen anything like what Barber and his team experienced, even suggesting the sickness may not be of earthly origin. Jake's claims are also backed up by testimonies from many other of his fellow veterans, like Don Paul, another decorated Special Forces operator who worked with Jake Barber and confirms everything he's saying. Now, along with the egg UAP, the original whistleblower thread reveals that a coffin-like stasis pod was also recovered from the cave in Antarctica, which he says he has pics of, and well, he delivered. According to him, this pod they found had a humanoid being inside that was kept alive without the use of cryogenics. They brought it up to a lab, and very quickly the being awoke from its stasis sleep pod and started interacting with the humans. It was very tall, around 8 feet, with blue eyes, pale skin, white long hair, and a very human-like face, while at the same time looking very non-human. This, in ufology, would be what we call the Nordic aliens, or the tall whites. It proved to be very intelligent, learning English and German in less than a week, and was able to speak directly to the scientists, and can also communicate with select humans telepathically, which you would hear as your voice in your own head, like giving yourself a monologue. The being explained to the team that he was born here 700 years ago, and that his people saved humans from a creator race who engineered us to serve them millions of years ago, which is pretty much exactly what the ancient Sumerian Anunnaki myth is about, which the alien said humanity passed that story down from that very real event. The whistleblower says they even took photos of its thing, which, in case you're wondering, looks like ours, but the tip is more similar to a chimpanzee. His words, please don't look that up. He did also mention that our government has a sort of internal division on what they want to do with this sort of information. That everyone involved falls into one of two groups, those that want disclosure, revealing aliens and UFOs to the public, and those that don't. And that all the UAP Congress hearings, the News Nation video, the Jake Barber leaks we've been shown are all just distractions by the people who want to keep it hidden. Then he shows us additional photos of the egg, the stasis pod, the Antarctic cave they found everything in, which he claims is from the other group. The cave was part of a larger underground alien base that had been there for thousands of years but has since been abandoned. All they found there was the egg, the sleeping pod, and another metallic box filled with books written in Sumerian and Proto-European. One of the photos even feature what he calls unexplained writing, possibly hieroglyphics, on the walls. These caves were supposedly found in the Queen Elizabeth mountain range in Antarctica, which, oddly enough, this area specifically is extremely pixelated on Google Earth when you zoom in. Meanwhile, other areas right beside it are full of detail. Is there any reason this region was kept off the radar? Our totally reliable and whistleblower finishes off with a very concerning message, claiming that something called the Dwight D. Eisenhower Alliance is very real, where former President Eisenhower met with some of these aliens way back in the 50s and traded American civilians in exchange for their technology, which they studied and developed in classified government projects. But by this time, the thread started going off the rails, with the OP claiming it was hijacked by government disinformation agents pretending to be him, posting another close-up shot of the infamous egg UAP that even shows some sort of markings and writing all over it, but it could very well be AI at this point, which it kind of sucks that AI has sort of infiltrated our sphere of tangible evidence. And today, even real UFO and alien photos and videos could easily be dismissed as AI and mocked. Pics or it didn't happen is officially irrelevant. We do know, at least with a higher degree of certainty, that the News Nation video could very well be real, and this egg UAP is currently in the government's possession. Unless this really is just a massive distraction to cover up what's really happening, which honestly would be even more terrifying. But if it is real, I have a feeling that whatever it is will be revealed to us sooner than later.
I agree, when it comes to these UFO videos, it's hard to believe anything because of AI. Shout out to Phil Spix. This is very interesting stuff right here, especially the coffin with the tall white in it. Learning German and English in like a day. Yeah, we definitely gonna find out sooner than later.
Your body works as a radio antenna. Think about a radio and how it uses an antenna to pick up the frequency to play the specific radio tune. It's the same with your body. Your body is basically a radio which is tapped in to the stream of consciousness. It's picking up and tapping into this consciousness, what we call life. Now, whatever you feed this consciousness that you are tapped into is what shapes and molds your external reality. Whatever you listen to, whatever you think, whatever you say, whatever you feel is shaping your consciousness. Your consciousness is like water. And whatever surroundings you put that water in, it's molding the water like a cup. Whatever you mold your consciousness to, this is what's creating in your physical reality. It's like a mirror. Your outer world just reflects what's going on inside of you.
My outstanding friends, this is just so far over the top, I don't know what to say. They've been looking for the source of the Nile for thousands of years. Nobody's ever discovered it. It says it still lives on today. What is the source of the Nile? Where did the Nile come from? Well, I can tell you where it came from. It came from a vagina. So let's get into it. Well, you know what I mean. Okay, my friends, this is going to be part one because this is going to be very deep and detailed. I claim this is a vagina. And this is the labia minor and the labia majora, big. And this right here is part of the digestive tract. That's the source of the Nile. It starts out here, sucking everything together. I have very, very detailed pictures of this, and I can understand exactly what's going on. Now, this is called the Red Sea. Okay, my friends, I'm going to show you right now. This is biology. And this right over here is the fascia. I'll show you that. It's unbelievable. This, I'm going to say, is a vagina. And that's the little spots right at the top where the folds of skin are. And this is what they call the labia, I think it's majora and minora or something like that. It's the wide out edge and then the inner edge. You see the difference, the distinction between the two. And this, for some reason, got ripped out here. And the fascia is over here. I will show you that. This is a lake that has just turned brilliantly red. And you can see the runoff here. Now, this is the Red Sea. If somehow it gets over into there, I have no idea. But it does turn red on occasion. And that's what happens in female vaginas. You know, that just happens. Now, this is it looks to me, it must be involved in the poop. Although it is water. Now, these creatures were not like us. They have what they call a cloaca. And normally that is where the poop comes together with the urinary tract and they dump together as a unit. Now, why this is all water, I don't know. But I do know that this is absolutely a part of the digestive system, and it's taken the fluids, apparently. And you see these kind of things here? That's not normal. That's not just your normal finger lakes, whatever you want to call them. This is biology. This, my friends, is biology. And it's doing something here. It's absorbing some chemistry, or it's putting some out. I think it's absorbing some kind of pancreatic juices or something like that. All right, because you see, it's very, very, just bing right here, and all of a sudden it does all this. And the same thing happens down below. As they come down through here, you can see the change in color even. You see, something's happening here, adding something, some digestive juice or whatever. And then down here, you got almost looks like an intestine. And then you got this thing hanging off the side. And that's what they do. There's a reabsorptive factor. And I think this is where the reabsorption occurs and takes out the fluids that normally would just, or whatever it does. It takes out nutrients. I don't know what it does. But it's some little device that works with the stuff that's coming down and reabsorbs nutrients or vitamins or whatever, something like that. And then the two of them meet together and dump into the Mediterranean. I guess it's the Mediterranean, the end of the Mediterranean. This is upside down because this is the way the vagina is. Now, in ancient texts, it says the earth had sex, had intercourse. The earth had intercourse. Exactly what it says. Now, this over here, let me show you some real deep shots about this. But again, that's the vagina. That's the little folds of skin. The labia minor, labia majora. We got something ripped this. And you can see it stretched like hell, and then all of a sudden it's back to being the regular interstitium. All right. As I said, we got a vagina, and this whole side appears to have been really stretched and pulled away hard. And this is the interstitium here, and I will show you. This is quite obvious. You see this right here? That right there, you got to let it settle in, is the interstitium. Right, all that little wrinkly stuff. Watch when we get right down on here. You see it? That is the interstitium layer that can pull this way and pull that way, and it all comes back. You see how it's all bundled up here? All these little things. It's being stretched this way. Over here, it's really being stretched. It's like stretched to the point of almost breaking. If we come back, you see how it's getting all stretched out here? This whole area got ripped away somehow. And that interstitium is not supposed to be pulled that tight like that. All right? It's supposed to be more like this stuff here. Well, you come way out here, you'll see it's basically like this. This is what you should see on the interstitium. And that gives it the ability to do this, and to do this, and to do that, and because your skin has to be able to do all that. Now, the other thing I thought was pretty cool is these are fluid-filled highways, basically, in the body. These are little tubes, and it appears like the tubes have collapsed in the center. That's what it looks like to me. But this is what interstitium is. And again, it's got ripped something really hard, because all the way out to here, it's still all ripped up. Something happened out here, I don't know what. See how this is all stretched out and this is all gathered together?
I cannot believe what I'm seeing in this video. Do you see it? What's weird about this FIFA World Cup thing right here? Y'all, it's literally in the presence of two separate angels. And heck no, I'm not talking about the people. This is literally the outside is like a throne or an orphan, and then the inside is like a cherubim. Y'all, why in the world would they shape this award the exact way that the Bible describes certain angels? Not to mention we've been having these things pop up in the sky lately. I'm sure this video right here is fake. But then we had this image which was going around when we had the Dior bags going around. But these things have been seen everywhere. By the way, I got surprised at the end. Gonna do a fast forward real quick. People are finally finding out what stars really are, not to mention we have these scientists coming out with the Dyson spheres. By the way, watch how fast this video gets copied. It's March 7th at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Now the bonus, have you ever played Final Fantasy VII? Well, Sephiroth's actually the devil and a seraphim, just like the Bible. Different stages of the last boss are literally different power level angels. And you know that grievingly strong attack he uses? You know, that wipes out the whole earth in the game? What is this? Nashar? Apophis? Google Images says 2029 a meteor is gonna wipe us out? You don't say. But anyways, why do y'all think they made the award in the shape of angels? Or am I reaching?
Apophis, that's what Neil Tyson was talking about. Shout outs to the real Moon Henry. I don't know, it's kind of giving me weird vibes.
Look at this. An archaeologist was analyzing the remains of a mummified corpse, and if you see on the screen, the mummy looks like it's looking directly at you. Creepy. It's like it's looking into your soul.
So I'm saying this is a vagina, and I've got a lot of details on this, and this is going to require a very long, detailed analysis of this. But the source of the Nile is not Lake Victoria. That's Lake Victoria. That's not the source of the Nile. This is absorbing all kinds of stuff. This is part of the digestive system, I'm sure. Look at the size of this vagina. And this, I believe, is the womb. I'd have to go with the womb being right there. You see this? Whenever you see these abrupt transitions, something like was fused into another body part. Whatever was here. This here is, and again, this is going to require a lot of really deep looking, because there's so much going on here that you don't really even understand until you look. And this is where that red lake came up, right here. It turned brilliant red. You see this? This is, instead of being normal blue like this, something ejected something out of here and turned it red, because here's what it turned like. It's right there. This is what happened in this whole area. They read, and this is nothing more than tissue. I know this stuff inside and out. Now, there's no question whatsoever what we're dealing with here, and it's biology. But it's so hard for the average mind to accept what our true nature is here. And this is up here on Jupiter. I think it's getting ready to give birth again. This is all red stars. It turned round like it would, getting ready to have birth. And the big slabs of red stuff came off back in 2019. Now, this is only 4 years later, 5 years later, whatever. And I don't know how long they take to eject a planet, but boy, I'll tell you, it looks like it's getting ready as far as I'm concerned. And that's Jupiter. And that red spot will give birth to a planet the size of Earth, basically, because that's what Venus was. Now, Jupiter has 12 moons, I believe. So did it give birth to all those? And possibly did Earth give birth to the moon? I don't know. I wouldn't think that Earth gave birth to the moon, but I don't know. And then you see this thing here. I think this could be an egg. I mean, that's just not normal. And when I really homed in on it, you could see they built something right in the middle of there, I believe, right in the middle of this thing. Very strange stuff we're looking into here, but it's going to require some deep time to do this. All right, I just want to be sure that you understand that interstitium is up on Mars, too. This is called the Mars Morse code from Curiosity. It went up there in 2014. I alerted NASA. I said, you guys got biology all over the place. And I also told them about the Mars crab. This is from a NASA picture they sent back saying we saw this, and everybody made a big joke out of it. And I said, no, this is an artery and a vein, and these are muscle sarcomeres. And that was biology. And then NASA funded Yale to do a research to see if, for some reason, into mud fossils, which they did. And they agreed, yes, mud fossils can happen. They're talking about on Earth, and make extremely, exceptional preservation of soft-bodied creatures. That's correct. Only they don't understand it. I do. I discovered it, and I gave them the paper years before they somehow got funded from NASA. And I think it was because I alerted NASA, and I said, these are the same as the Moki marbles. That's life. This is the same as what I showed you over in the desert, which is interstitium. That's exactly, and that also I discovered in my mud fossils. They never even knew this stuff existed. It's a crazy new world, my friends, but what I'm showing you is pushed back at desperately, but it is true. Dragon in the desert, Red Sea, which is a vagina. Earth gave birth to Typhon. Typhon is there. All right, this map goes back to 1375. It's called the Atlas Catalan Abraham Kresk map. So look it up if you need to find it, because I don't have any links to this. Now, this is some big shot commissioned this, and this is the best map that I've ever seen. And it showed all the principalities and who was in charge, and they had all details about what they did. And, there was pearl divers here and gold diggers there. And now, this is what I found very interesting. Of course, there's the Red Sea, just what we're talking about. That's a vagina. Here's Typhon right here. There's Typhon, runs all the way across the desert, and there's his throat cut. He runs exactly where he is. Exactly. That's Italy right here. Runs all the way across North Africa. So they knew, we all knew this stuff until the Age of Enlightenment came, when academia came along and said, no, these people are all crazy. We're going to make you people smart, and you're going to do what we tell you to do. And that's what happened. And if you don't do what you're told to do, you're going to be where I am. I'll sit somewhere out in the woods, and nobody will listen to you. All right, here it is right here. The other giants Zeus smote and destroyed with thunderbolts, and all of them Hercules shot with arrows as they were dying. When the gods had overcome the giants, Earth, still more enraged, had intercourse, had sex. Earth had sex with Tartarus and brought forth Typhon, who was the gigantic dragon in the desert I've shown 1,000,000 times, a hybrid between man and beast. Now, here's the key. The Earth gave birth to all kinds of different giants and monsters and cyclopses and hundred-handers and all these titans, and they were her children. All right, these giants were her children. Well, the gods were other gods. Zeus was a planet. Zeus was a planet, Jupiter, and he killed all of her children, and she was pissed. So she had sex with Tartarus and brought forth this gigantic dragon who attacked the gods. However, Zeus smote him.
Her mother was taken in for surgery. Her daughter was relaxing in her wardroom, reading a book on her phone. She began to see a shadow, but thinking nothing of it, she continues to read her book. Then, the shadow appears again, only this time it seemingly passed in front of her. Then it passed again and again, so she switches on her phone camera, hoping to capture whatever it was. To her surprise, she captured the shadow figure of a person walking by. Watch this.
Yo, whatever it was definitely creepy. Shout out to Nightmare Fuel. Yeah, it could have been anything. Definitely an entity. Could have been someone who passed over in the same room in the same bed. She definitely captured a spirit on her phone.
The Dorito UFO saga continues. We have some footage coming out of Madrid, Spain, of a triangular-shaped object floating in the sky. And we also will have another piece of footage coming from Ontario, Canada, of the same exact occurrence, okay? In the past week, we've probably had about 9 to 10 different pieces of footage showcasing these strange triangular formations floating in the sky, either hovering, rotating, or just straight up darting off into the distance, right? And Spain is being quite prolific in sort of with these sightings happening on a more frequent basis, alright? Let's look at the one in Canada as well. And this is the piece of footage coming out of Canada. And before people say, oh, you know, 3 points always make a triangle, 3 points also make a line, so what's your point, right? So these strange sightings all have a similar correlation of becoming a triangular formation, right? And they're either orbs that glow and they appear in and then vanish off, like this piece of footage here. These 3 lights are kind of hovering through and then cracking on, and then eventually they do disappear, right? And again, another correlation of what these things are appearing and just vanishing. I don't know, man. So we do need to kind of relate this to all the other sightings we've had across the world. We've had Spain, obviously. We've had France. We've had Vietnam. We've had Thailand. We've seen some in Russia as well. We've seen it in the UK. We just had Wales at the beginning of the week that I posted earlier on, with another triangular formation floating through the sky. And this is something that is happening more and more, mate. So, I don't know. People need to start paying attention. Some freaky deaky stuff is going on.
They are trapping your soul in the earth. You do not experience the external world. What you feel is electrical impulses on your nervous system. What you visually see is light entering the eyes and the image produced at the back of the brain. You're experiencing a simulation produced by your brain and central nervous system, which means that the body is the earth. You are God. Generator, operator, destroyer, the mind, soul, and body. The mind's the projector, the soul's the observer, and the body is the dimension. This body is allowing your soul to operate in this physical dimension. It's a vehicle. They programmed your mind to believe that you are only a physical being to trap your mind and soul in this physical world, in this physical body. But you are way more than just this physical body. The only way to escape is through astral projection. The Matrix is not physical, it's a limiting belief system that lowers our state of consciousness, programmed our minds to be attached to the physical world through money, clothes, and fame. To keep our minds locked in the external reality, you must go within to expand your consciousness to astral project, to activate your light body just like the ancients were depicting. You can literally become a god and travel these other dimensions other than this physical world. That's why these Sumerian gods depicted themselves with 2 faces.
All right, same thing here. Jupiter gave birth to. It gave birth to Venus, which attacked Earth to wipe out all the giants. And this is another thing that Earth must have been kind of pissed off about, because it did. It wiped up all the giants and virtually everybody and all of the life on Earth except the ones that were preserved. Now, here's the key. Here's the real key. Is that Prometheus was the father of Noah in these ancient texts. In Apollodorus, he says he was called Deucalion, and he was Noah. He was tipped off by Prometheus, who was in touch with the god, or Zeus, exactly, to be honest, because Zeus was the one that sent Venus to destroy Earth by giving birth to her, or him, or whoever it was. And I think now Venus might be Jesus, because Venus is known as the morning star, and Jesus said, "I am the morning star." So, and this is the son of Jupiter, who was the god. So he was the son of the god. It looks like it to me. Now, this god, though, Jupiter, was not the god of the big god. All right, sorry about that. Venus was born from that vagina on Jupiter. So Jupiter is the father, but female. Because they could be female, they could be male, they could be insects, they could be fungus, they could be rivers, they could be anything they wanted. They control matter, basically. That's what it boils down to. So, and Jupiter as a planet, the biggest planet in our solar system, would turn himself into a little person, come down onto Mount Olympus and have sex parties. That's what what it was all about. There was 200 of them broke away from the major god that sent the 600 angels. And I guess they're planets or stars or whatever they are. I don't know what they are, but this is Jupiter was put in charge of this solar system. And he apparently took 200 guys, and 200 or whatever they were, and said, let's go and just have fun. And they did. And then that started all these wars and all that nonsense, because what happened was, well, we're going to get into this very, very deep, because it's a long, deep, convoluted story. But I think now I'm starting to understand everything in the universe is biological. And this right here shows me that this is an attachment. It's called the forcet, which locks in the vagina right there. And you see this right here? That's called the forcet. And it locks the vagina in so it doesn't get stripped out of there. And they can get ripped right out of there. And I was just reading up about it, as a matter of fact. And this is what it looks like in the human body. That spot right there is the forcet. All right, and all the rest of the stuff I talked about, the labia minora and the labia majora, there they are right there, the big wide spot right here. All this here is the labia majora, and this is the labia minora, very close down here, and of course the vaginal opening in the canal. And this is precisely what you have here. You got your inside labia and outside labia, the vaginal canal, the clitoris, the forcet. And this is actually, I believe, even like the hairline right out here. You see that? Looks like the hairline. But that's the forcet. That right there, that locked it in for me. When you see these little tabs coming up, here's what it looks like in a better shot. Hold on. You see it? It is right there. That's the spot we're looking at. And of course, here's the labia majora and the inner labia. And that's what the red spot is on Venus. It's not a red spot, a storm. It's a vagina. And that's what it was written in the ancient text. And this is what's happening over here. This appears to be the opening towards the womb, because I have shots of that too somewhere here, where that spot is. It's over here, right there. And all that stuff comes all into here. And I think these two may even be eggs. I looked at these and they look like they might be something you would consider to be an egg, and this could be the womb. I don't know. At this point, it's there's a lot of looking and searching to do, but these are what these eggs look like. You see that? Those are those little black-looking eggs. Now, whether they're still viable, I don't know. You see, this is basically, that's just hard to understand without it. And you see this here, that little spot? Where do you see the other one? The same exact identical structure. All right, we just saw that one. Look at this one. Same thing right there. Same stuff coming out here. Same structure, and the two of them side by side in the same area. And I think that's a womb. Right there. That's where that red blood spot was. And this is a very interesting place here. Whenever you see an abrupt transition like this is like a womb attached into the gut or something. And then this whole area, when I got down in here and started really looking deep, yikes. It's nothing but biology. But the source of the Nile is the fact that it is part of the digestive system. It's not coming from Lake Victoria. They said Lake Victoria was the source of the Nile. No, not correct. Not correct. Like they say way up here, Lake Victoria is the source of the Nile. No, it's not. They just can't figure it out because it's being absorbed by all of these tissues that are in here, and there's still entrances and still biology that's there. Now, it may not be alive now. I don't know, but it's still doing its functioning of moving fluids through Earth, which is Mother Earth, Gaia. And then it absorbs them all, and here's where that could be the womb. I don't know. But this is why it's so fertile down here, is because of the body fluids. Now, is this an avian creature? I don't know. I don't know. Because this could be anything. It's just, it's not normal for something to be like this today. I don't know what it is. But this is exactly what I would expect to see as a vagina. And Earth gave birth to all these creatures, and I mean hundreds of them. And if you read Apollodorus, it'll freak you out. She gave birth to 100 handers, and then they had 50 heads, and the Cyclopses, and the Titans, and all the giants, and then the gods killed them. They wiped them out, and she got mad. So she created Typhon. And here's Typhon. Hold on. Everybody knows where Typhon is.
This footage was actually captured on CCTV in Buckingham Palace, Britain. It was captured in 2012, but is pretty good footage. On the top right of the hallway, a translucent apparition appears. Who could this spirit be? Is it a former royal? Many members of staff tell of the palace being haunted. The royals themselves often joke about the resident ghosts. Watch this. Follow me for your dose of nightmare fuel.
Yo, it's crazy. It looked like it had the silhouette of Princess Diana. It's crazy how it kind of morphed into the mist and floated away. Shout out to Nightmare Fuel.
Typhon, where are you? He's the dragon in the desert. And he's the one she created. And here he is right over here, attacking this gigantic fish. And everybody says, oh, the fish is swimming that way. No, it isn't. Swimming this way. You see the scales turn this way, this way, this way, this way. That means it's going this way. Otherwise, if it was swimming this way, the scales would open right up. They lay back because it's going that way. You see the scales? Go this way, and this way, and this way. If they were going the other way, yes, I'd say it was, but this is the tail. Now, he was attacking the fish. And that's another thing he says, identical to what it says in the ancient text. It says he attacked the gods, and the gods changed themselves into animals to try to get away. And apparently he got the fish. Because right here is eating right into the vital flesh. Oh, that's nasty, nasty stuff. And this is Typhon. He's the dragon. And here's his dragon-scaled throat coming all the way down. This is just runoff from his dead, decaying body. And this is his dragon-scaled throat. And he's on the maps. He's on the maps. They knew he was there, and they knew that Zeus cut his throat. And there's the gash right across his throat. And here's his scales. They're all over. This is no question. This is a dragon, and it's a dragon scales. And I can find, again, I look for a digestive system, because every creature had one. And this is where he pooped, right here, this thing. He went all the way down here, and he pooped right there. See, this is some more blood just running out of this little divot here. But these are the dragon scales. You can see them. There's no question. These are dragon scales. Hills don't form like that. And this is blood running out. These are transition metals. It's different materials the scales were made out of. See? It's not just like one thing. So these are all the dragon scales, and that's all the bodily fluids running out of it. And if we come back here up to his digestive system, this is the whole body is here, a whole gigantic body. There's his legs. Right there is where he poops. And that's why they're living right there, because it's fertile. You see it right there? This is where he pooped, right out of here. And again, the poop on this one comes out here, and that's where they're living. And the urine comes down here, the urinary tract. And this is more like a cloaca, and the two of them come back together here. You see this one runs in, and this is right here is where the poop runs out. You see it? You see, these are dragon scales. And that's where it poops. And over here is where the urine stuff runs out. In a bird, you got your black and your white stuff. When it poops on your windshield, you see black and you see white. One of them is this side, which is a white side, and one of them is the poop side, which is this side. But they come out together in what they call a cloaca. They dump together and discharge out. So this was Typhon, and he was made by Earth to attack the gods, which he did. But Zeus overcame and cut his throat. And don't forget, it's right there. This is all the blood running out in the desert. You see this right here? This is all blood running out in the desert. And it was running green. You know, blood makes things grow very, very green. And this was very, very green. And now it's turned black. And this was just a couple of years ago, as green as it could be. It was that same color, the whole thing. The whole thing. You see what it is now? I'm not exactly sure what is going on there, but it doesn't look good. There's no more water coming through here. This is a dam. It's just dry as a bone now, I think. You see? It used to be, you know, it is still maybe a trickle of water coming down, but it's basically dried up as dry as a bone now. You see it? There's nothing left there. There's no water coming through. So all of this has died. And I'm not kidding you. This was as green. You couldn't see any greener than this. It was to blow your eyeballs out green. It's still a little green way down the end here. But over there, it's just everything's dead. See the green down here? We got trouble. We got serious trouble here on Earth, my friends. And just what we got. And all this stuff has been written about, so I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised once I realized that all the things they had written about that we thought was silly were real. And all the age of the sea monsters was because the parasites that lived in these gigantic creatures. This is 1,100 miles long. Think about the size of the parasites. They were the sea monsters. You see, they came out here out of his body into the ocean through these channels. And then they attacked ships. That's where all the sea monsters came from these gigantic creatures when they died. And they died because we almost got hit by Venus, and that Venus was dispatched by Zeus, who was Jupiter, to kill all of these giant creatures. And it did. And Mother Earth, I'm sure, grieved at the destruction of her offspring. Because they are everywhere. They're everywhere on Earth. We are in such a different world than we thought. And like I say, there's the outer layers of the vagina. I mean, it's just, that's all I can say. All right, we really got to get very deep into this because, you know, if we want to understand the reality of the world we're living in, this is what it's going to require. Now, we talked about Typhon. I showed you Typhon. Zeus killed him. At this point, there was no humans. At this point, there was no humans on Earth. There was just giants and dragons and all these monsters. Now, Zeus killed all of these guys, all the giants and the titans and all that stuff. So, Zeus cast Mount Etna on him and all this stuff, and he killed all of the giants. Now, then Prometheus, who was another god, molded men out of water and earth. He molded them with the clay and gave them fire, which Zeus did not want him to have fire. So Zeus, it was unknown to Zeus. He had hidden it in a stalk of fennel. When Zeus learned about it, he ordered Hephaestus, who was another god, to nail Prometheus to Mount Caucasus, which is in Scythian mountains, and on it Prometheus was nailed and kept bound for many years. Every day an eagle swooped in on him and devoured the lobes of his liver, which grew back by night. That was the penalty that Prometheus paid for the theft of fire until Hercules afterwards released him. So Hercules was still around, came back and released him.
It was actually captured on a camera in a police station. The camera was set to overlook the parking lot outside of the station. On this night, a desk sergeant noticed something extremely peculiar showing up on camera. Something that they could never explain. They even admit they found this very unnerving and have never seen anything like this before. Naturally enough, they set out to debunk it as maybe being a bug or a glitch, but they discovered it was neither. You have to watch for yourself what it was that shook even seasoned officers to the core. Please note, the officer who released this to the public domain had permission to do so, for the reason of appealing to the public what they think this could be. Watch this.
Cadê essa mulher que não sai? Calma, mano. Será que ela prendeu? Calma aí, mano. Vai. Saiu?
As we shall show in dealing with Hercules. Now, Prometheus had a son, Deucalion. Here's where the great flood comes in. Because at this point, there's no more giants. There's no more anything, but there's just nothing but crazy people on earth. And Zeus wants them dead. Or actually, I guess all the giants would still be around. No, I guess it said Zeus killed all the giants. All right? And I assume that's the Titans and so forth. So then Prometheus had a son, Deucalion, reigning in the regions about Pythia. So Prometheus had molded the men. He created all this people on earth. And apparently they went bad. Okay? And he reigned in the regions about Pythia. That's Noah. He married Pyra, the daughter of Hephaestus and Pandora, who was the first woman fashioned by the gods. So this is really way back to where we just started humanity. Now, when Zeus would destroy the men of the Bronze Age, so he's going to kill them all because they were just all bad. They were no good. Deucalion, by the advice of his father, Prometheus, constructed a chest. So we know now, if this is true, Zeus plotted to have the baby, which was Venus, to destroy the earth. He had it all planned out. I'm going to have the baby. I'm going to shoot him down. All right, my son will take this and take care of it. Having stored with provisions, he embarked with Pyrrha. Zeus, pouring heaven rain from heaven, flooded the greater part of Greece. All men were destroyed, except a few fled to the high mountains, and they would have had to been in caves too, and in that neighborhood. It was then that the mountains in Thessaly parted, and all the world outside Isthmus and Peloponnesia was overwhelmed. But Deucalion, floating in the chest he had constructed over the sea for 9 days and as many nights, drifted to Parnassus, and there, when the rain ceased, he landed and sacrificed to Zeus, the god of escape. And Zeus sent Hermes to him and allowed him to choose whatever he wanted. What would you want? And he said, I want men. And at that bidding, Zeus took up stones, and at that bidding of Zeus, he, Noah, took up stones, threw them over his head, and the stones which Noah, Deucalion, threw became men. The stones which Pyrrha threw became women. Hence people were called metaphorically lost a stone. And Deucalion had children with Pyrrha, first Helen, whose father, some say, was Zeus. Zeus was all over women. And second, Amphitryon, who reigned over Attica after Cranus. A third, a daughter, Protogenia, who became the mother of Atheus by Zeus. So Zeus was getting on with her too. And then it goes on and on. I mean, this is just unbelievable. It's just stunning. And this we're only into book 1. And this goes on here. You got book 1, right from the beginning. The Titans, Olympian gods, Prometheus, Deucalion, giants, Typhon. Book 2 is all kinds of stuff. Book 3 is some more, all kinds of stuff. This is all of these books were written primarily from the text that Hesiod wrote back 800 BC. And he wrote those when he was on Mount Helicon. And the daughters of Zeus, so Zeus was around then, this is 800 BC. The daughters of Zeus went to him and said, write the history of our father. We want you to write it. And this is what he wrote. Well, this Apollodorus took everybody else's history. This is about 200 BC, 2nd century BC. So 150, somewhere around here BC. But the rest of them went back all the way back to 800 BC. And Hesiod was the first one to write, and he wrote and wrote and wrote. And then Ovid wrote at the time of Caesar, which is the time of Christ, and wrote about metamorphosis, which is their ability to change themselves. Metamorphosis is like a chrysalis, a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. And these guys could do anything they want. They could turn into anything they wanted. And then they would turn other creatures into the landscape just for fun, really. You read Ovid, it'll blow your mind. Metamorphosis. Okay, I'm going to leave it at this, but if you want to find out more about the ancient texts, read Metamorphosis. And this was written by by Ovid. They call them poets. They were writers, and they were historical documenters, basically. And we called them poets. And he wrote 15 books. And this is Metamorphosis, which means to be able to change. And these are book 1, the creation, ages of mankind, the flood, Deucalion, Pyrrha, Apollo, all this stuff, all the way down, everybody, all the way down through all of the people, Hercules, all of them. These were the stories of the history of the earth, which was just laughed at because it's so incredible. And book 15 ends up somewhere around Julius Caesar because that's when he lived. So after that, he wouldn't know about. But here's what it says. Metamorphosis or transformation, transforming something, is a unifying theme amongst the episodes of the Metamorphosis. Ovid raises its significance explicitly in the opening lines, the first lines. He says, "In nova fert animos mutatus dissere formos copara." What does that mean? I intend to speak of forms changed into new entities. So something was changed from something into something else. And he says, accompanying this theme is often violence. Oh, I mean, boy, violence, you're not talking. You have no idea about the violence. The theme often accompanies violence inflicted upon a victim whose transformation becomes part of the natural landscape. They wiped them all out. And the theme amalgamates, it goes on and on and on and on. And they could turn themselves into anything. Look, there's a great variety among the types of transformations take place. Human to inanimate objects like the Nile River, constellations, animals, plants, ants, fungi, one sex to another, like Jupiter has a female vagina. And from one color to another, they can be anything they want. They could transform pebbles into anything. And they did. They could become stars and they are immortal. So they're still around somewhere. I don't know where they are, but they're still around somewhere. Okay, the source of the Nile. 3,000-year mystery, the source of the Nile. Simple question, just simple. Geography for the source of the Nile River has captivated explorers and rulers throughout history and lives on to this day. And no longer, it's up till this day, now the case has been closed by Mud Fossil University and yours truly, Roger Spur. All right, I love you all. Happy New Year. 2024, I hope, will be the year that everybody comes to realize our true past. Because this is not just spectacular and something to get excited about. It's something to consider, because if all these texts are correct, you got rules, you got things that are going to happen. And Jesus Christ, it looks like to me, came back to...
That was a lot. That was a whole lot. Shout outs to Roger Spur at Mud Fossil University, claiming they found the source of the Nile River. Shout outs to Dragon Earther for uploading this. This definitely gives a whole new meaning to Mother Earth. I'll say that for sure. Seems as if Roger Spur and Dead Hidden are onto something when they say angels came down and became gods with a lowercase g. I'm not gonna lie, at first this video seemed real silly, but he started making some good points, pointing things out. It's crazy. Make sure y'all go support Roger at Mud Fossil University on YouTube. Go follow, subscribe, like his videos. If all of this is true, he may have indeed found the source of the Nile River. It's something we definitely had no clue it would be. This research is fascinating. And that's a wrap. Hope you enjoyed tonight's rabbit hole. You enjoyed this video, why don't you check this one right here? Thanks again. Till next time.